Hello to all, this is the national master Alessandro Santagati. This is my game that I played against Russo Alfio in an Italian tournament. I played with white and I played e4. Black played g6, d4, bishop g7. This opening is called the modern, and the idea is develop the bishop in a strong diagonal, and after try to counterattack on the center with move like c5. I played knight f3, c5. In this position there are a lot of choices for white. I can try to play c3 to defend the center with another pawn, to have two united pawns on the center. I can defend with bishop, or I can simply push the pawn. I prefer in this game push on d5. My idea is take space, so I gain space with this move, but at the same time the black now has a strong diagonal, so the black has a compensation for it. d6. The move d6 is important to avoid the e5. So we know the black has to castle in the king side, so the idea is this. To do this, the black must develop the knight on f6, but to develop it, the black has to cover e5. So d6 is very important about this. I played c4, I take more space on the center and on b5, and after that knight f6. The black is developing a piece. I can develop the knight and defend e4 with knight c3, castle, bishop to d3. Okay, in this position in theory I can play or bishop e2 or bishop d3. So the question could be why I played bishop d3 and not bishop e2. Now I thought that the black could try, for example, move like e6 to counterattack on the center, and after this e takes d5, and after that I know it's better for me to take with the pawn c. For this reason I played bishop d3 because I thought that it was important to defend e4. So bishop d3 can help to do that. Bishop e2 at this time that helped me for nothing. So bishop d3 I think is better. Bishop d3, e6. After that, castle. E takes d. C takes d. It's better take with the pawn c because in general it's better have central pawns. So c takes d. Now the black made a mistake because in this position after c takes d, I think that the bishop on c8 is very passive. Passive because there are no squares for this bishop, maybe only d7 or g4. So in this kind of position it's better for black trade this bishop for a knight. So now the right move is bishop g4 with this simple idea. Rook e8 is a mistake because allow me to play h3, and now the black can't trade his bishop. So now h3 is a strong move. c4. This move is interesting. The idea is take space on the queen side, because if I take the pawn, I will lose the pawn e4. If I take it, there is knight takes e4. And in general, we can understand that the pawn e4 is more important than the pawn c4. For this reason, I play bishop c2. After that, black moves b5. And in this case, I can take on b5. Why? It's clear, the pawn e4 is more important than the pawn b5. But in this case, I can take, because if I take, the pawn c4 would be my next point to attack. This pawn is very weak, and probably I can focus my strategy to attack this pawn. In the game I didn't see it, and for this reason after b5 I played simply a3 to avoid the push b4. a6 to defend b5, bishop f4. In this position, I think it's very important focus attention about the white development and about the black development. If I focus attention about my development, I can understand that the bishop can go or to e3, or to f4, or to g5. Each square seems good, so e3 could be good, f4 could be good, maybe also g5. But if I focus attention about the black development, I can understand that probably the bishop should go on b7 and the knight on d7. For this reason, I choose the bishop f4 because at the same time I develop my piece and I give problem black about its development, because now knight d7 is not possible because the pawn will be without a defender. So for this reason, the black played queen e7 to allow knight d7. But now I move the rook in the same file of the queen, so this is an X-ray attack, and could be a problem because I can threaten to push e5 to open the line in which there is the queen, so it's very dangerous. And for this reason, the black tried to avoid that with knight f d7. I don't need to open the game now, so I complete my development with queen d2. I improve my queen position because now the queen can help me to, for example, attack in the king side, so it's important. Bishop b7. And now I know his idea is play knight e5, and I played bishop g3, and not, for example, bishop h2, because on g3 the bishop can go on h4, for example. The idea about bishop g3 is play f4. My strategy is try to play for this pawn, so play f4, e5, and try to have a free pawn that I can exploit later. So this is my plan. For this reason I played bishop g3, knight is free, the square f3 to push ladder f4. Now the black played knight e5 and I played knight h2. Made is push f4, and now g5. Okay, after g5 I can change my plan, because now on the king side there are a lot of weak squares. There is the weak square f5, h5. A weak square is a square that you can't defend with a pawn. There is the square f6, h6. So I have a lot of weak squares in the king side. In the king side there is the king, and when there are a lot of weak squares near the king, this can help you to understand that is a good idea attack the enemy castle. For this reason, now I played knight f1 to exploit the weak square with the knight, and black played knight e7, knight e3, queen f6, knight f5, bishop f8. The idea is defend upon d6 and have the knight on e5 free. Okay, now my position is particularly strong, and I think this is the time to attack. And to attack, the right move is f4 to break the enemy castle. Now g takes f4 and bishop h4. Why this move? Because I have fear about knight g6. Black can improve his position with this move, another defender for his castle. I won't try to avoid that, and I played bishop h4 to force queen g6, and after that I take. Now it's not possible playing knight g6, knight f6. The idea is take the square g3, because the white simple threat is rook e3, rook g3. The king is in an open file, and this is a very bad thing for black. I play the rook e3, knight h5, and queen f2. Okay, now this is a very important critical position in which the black has a problem. The main problem is the knight on f5. I think the black has to remove it, and the black now chooses the bad way to do that, played bishop h6. Why this move is bad? Because because his castle is weak, and there are a lot of dark squares weak, and the bishop on f8 is an important defender now. For this reason, after bishop h6, I can simply take it, and I'm happy to give my strong bishop for the my strong knight for the enemy bishop, because now his castle is very weak. What's the right idea for black now? The right idea should be bishop c8, because this bishop now is useless for black position, doesn't help him, and the black has to play it. So bishop c8 to take the knight on f5 with the bishop. Bishop h6 he played. I take the bishop and the rook f1. Okay, the only piece that doesn't tell me now is the rook on a1. I take this rook on f1 and I attack the pawn. Yeah, the pawn is defended by the knight, but it means that now the knight is blocked. So black can't move his knight because the black has to defend f7. Rook c8. And now I played g4. This move is good because the knight has no squares, only g7. Knight g7, and now knight e2. This move is very strong because my simple threat is play g5 followed by knight f4, and I can't trouble the queen. f5, try to give more squares for the queen, but give me a pawn, so I can simply take the pawn. And now the black position is completely lost. The black now try to play this move, but I can simply ignore this and play rook g3. My simple threat is f6, take the bishop ladder, play bishop g5 to trap the queen, so king h8, bishop g5. And it's important to understand that in this position the queen can't take because I have rook to g7, and after that I will take the queen. So king h8, bishop g5, queen h5, knight f4, and now the black resigns because he lost a piece and my position is very strong. I got 3 pawn on f, so the game is completely won for white. Thank you to see this video.